Hello, National Fix League, and welcome to the Week 2 podcast. I am your host, Eric Zaleski, alongside Mr. Austin Revito, and we have yet another week of NFL football in the books. We do have a Monday night game pending. Once again, we're coming to you live on a Monday. So not everything completely finalized yet, but we did want to bring you the results thus far. Austin, how you doing today?
Good. We just had tacos at Chipotle. There were no antics. We have this quick backstory of this guy at the Chipotle by the mall who you can't get out of there without him. You'll reach for your card back and he'll do the thing where he pulls the card away to try to be funny. But this time this was a good visit, I guess.
Well, I was pleasantly surprised. I actually went as far as to tip him because he hadn't pulled any antics yet. But I actually tipped him a little too early because then he forgot to give me my chips and then started screaming when I asked for chips. So he caused a little bit of a commotion, a little bit of a scene there. But
that's nothing nothing new. Yeah.
All in all, I'd actually consider it a success over at the Chipotle over in the South Hills. But anyway.
So we're good.
So another week, and let's just kick this off. Did you get your ass kicked as well this week?
Yeah, I have threatened that this could be it.
Well,
I nearly started 0-6. How the fuck do you start 0-6?
Well, that's just
0-6.
That's us kind of coming full circle. We're the ones that sit here in front of the computers every week, do the podcast, analyze. I'm going to start off 0-2 in this league. And 1-5 overall. I think you're going to start off 1-5 overall as well.
Yeah, I put a shit song. See, that's the thing. It's all about the team name. I get cute with the team names, and we get cute with our team names, and they hold true. And like Ned Stark in Game of Thrones is dead. Spoiler alert! If you haven't seen it, the first season of Game of Thrones, then you're shit out of luck. Under construction in our other league that we're in together, it's under construction. Then I name a team Jordan Spieth, and they score 125 points. In another league, that's what you have to do. So you name your team Jason Day, or like Gronk or something, and you'll do really good.
Well, see, the reverse thing happened for me. Last week, I changed my team name to the Instagrams, and Jimmy Graham, I believe, had one catch this past week for like a total of 1.1 fantasy.
You got to get off that.
Well, I thought it was going to be good. I'm going to have to stick with it because I'm a guy that likes to stick with the team name throughout the course of the year. So.
You can't see that means you're just going to. That's not good. See, like Birdie. Birdie's stuck with his own name. Birdie's, on an upswing. He's out. He's frolicking around. He's single again. He's mingling. He's boozing.
Well,
he's hitting sleuts. I mean, so his life's on the up and up.
Well,
we made a mistake.
And I do want to touch on Birdie. We'll get to that during the matchup. I see he has not changed his team name yet, but I actually did hear from him real brief this week. So I do know he's alive. But we were just talking before we started the podcast. The biggest issue for me is, and it's really weird, because I do dedicate a lot of time to fantasy. Obviously, we do an hour-long podcast. I have 3 teams, which meant 3 drafts. I'm a subscriber to XM, so I listen to the Fantasy XM channel almost exclusively. Anytime I get in the shower, I just flip it on. It's entertaining. When I'm in the car, it's typically on. So a good amount of time of my life dedicated to fantasy, yet I'm in 3 leagues and I haven't done one waiver wire pickup since the start of the season.
That's
and
bold.
it's like what's the point? When I was winning championships a couple years ago, I was hot on the waiver wire. It is such a big part of the game. You got to be on top of things. I haven't been thus far, and we'll obviously get to the matchups here, but I'm going to be 0-2, and I deserve every bit of those 2 losses so far.
I've never been in. I've never made the playoffs in fantasy football. I have in hockey, but never in football. So my advice is about as good as nothing. But yeah, I made one waiver pickup. I picked up a defense, and I picked up the trying to be sneaky. Pick up the Saints defense who are playing that Jameis, and
that backfired.
That was all out reverse. Yeah, that was.
Well, here's just to get into that game real quick. I say that we'll still get into each matchup, but let's try to get away from doing as much fantasy and just get into a little more just football talk kind of in general.
Little Vegas action.
Kind of, yeah.
Se.
So, I mean, let's just face it. The Saints aren't the Saints anymore. Drew Brees isn't Drew Brees anymore.
Right.
I mean, and if you don't mind, I'm going to parlay this into real quickly. I started up a survivor pool.
Oh, yeah.
We only had 9 guys join, which was a little bit of a disappointment. But here we are 2 weeks in, and everybody's been eliminated. So we actually, in the poll, have to restart. Everybody's being reinstated. If anybody actually wants to jump in for week 3, you're more than welcome to. Everybody yesterday had the Saints, and Drew Rubio was the only team that didn't have him that was still in it. He had the Ravens, which, of course, lost in Oakland.
I may have had the Ravens. Wait, did I? No, did you look? Did I have the Saints?
I'm pretty sure you had the Saints.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought Rubio was the only one with the Ravens. He actually texted me and said, if the Ravens win, do I win the survivor pool? Because John Zaleski in this league, Colin Fawcett in this league, both did not submit picks this week.
So that's a loss, right?
That's a loss. So they were eliminated because everything sets on Thursday.
I noticed that. I actually jumped on Thursday morning.
Which it probably shouldn't be the case, but the way that they word it on the site is like when do you have to have the pick submitted, and like the options 5 minutes before kickoff every week. Like that sounds right in theory, but you're not thinking Thursday night, you're thinking Sunday.
Yeah, in the NFL with this Thursday night shit, like that's a whole other. There's a whole other ball.
Yeah. Well, I did just want to touch on. I mean, it was just funny how many people the Saints are just so far gone.
They're actually bad. Like Big Cat was saying on their pregame, he was like, and I always harken back to the Saints. They'll score 1 billion points at home and they'll blow out everybody. These aren't our high school Saints.
They're not.
They're not our college year Saints.
They're not the Katrina Saints.
Yeah, they're not,
because that's what everybody basically.
Maybe they need a new fucking flood or tsunami. It's like.
The thing is, I bet if you're a diehard Saints fan,
you're hoping for a natural disaster.
You go as far as to maybe suggest that.
You board up your house and then do a rain dance or something. Like, I don't know. That team's bad. And they were saying, and everyone was saying, start your Saints this week, blah, 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 Saints. Everything is Saints. Everything was coming up Saint views. And all you get is, Drew Brees looked fucking awful. And they kept showing that game on the red zone for some reason. Like, get out of here. Show me something else. The worst thing is when you're in Pittsburgh, you have a home game on Fox, so you have to listen to the worst crew in football, and they won't show a game. They won't show the mirror game on CBS because the Steelers can't sell out their fucking stadium, so you can't get 2 games on because if not, it would be a local blackout. So we're stuck watching that, and then the worst part is that game kept coming up because Antonio Brown. Will segue to him. Segues are hard, so. He's up on the screen every 10 seconds catching passes.
With that haircut.
Oh, he looks like a UFO.
But I feel like that's like classic, like you're like the top wide receiver in the NFL. You always have to like kind of represent with a haircut like that.
Right, like Odell Beckham Jr. got caught,
going his hair. Yeah,
carpet munching.
It's like a thing. It's almost like a pack. Like if you're like the number one guy, if you're the face, you got to do something like ridiculous to stand out.
Right, like the silverbacks mainly. Like if you're like a white receiver, you're probably not like doing anything too crazy. But the silverbacks, the funny story about silverbacks. Digressing, was down Friday night down pre-gaming the girls' place, and it was like me and her 3 roommates were having beers before we went out and met people down at the library in Carson, and. Somehow it got brought up that the one girl's younger sister was dating an older black man. And the girl, without me saying anything, and everyone knows my thoughts on this, without me saying anything, the girl said, my sister is dating a silverback.
Oh, Jesus.
I had chew in my mouth. I swallowed that, like the pouch, swallowed it. And then tried to spit everything back up. While drinking a beer, the females are now referring to them as silverbacks. So I was a little it was just a highlight of my weekend. Like it actually, literally the weekend just kind of plummeted from there, but hysterical nonetheless. That now
very
and that was created by Tony Rita, I think. Shout out to Tony at the gym. So
yeah, very explicit stuff there.
Yeah, well, that's not the half of it, but yeah. So, and does somebody is Breeze's Nuts or something? Is the team?
Yeah,
the Lasan brothers.
Yeah. So I was just gonna go ahead and jump into the first matchup here, and again, we're gonna be brief with the matchups. But I did kind of see this out of the corner of my eye and wanted to address it. We have a tight matchup going on between Shake and Bake, which was that Robert Chiquino's name last week?
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
I'm not sure.
I don't recall reciting that name, but
Yeah, no, it was, but I don't. What?
we also had a few in us last week as we were doing the podcast.
Yeah, that was like
The fact that we were able to kind of
pull that off was
Yeah.
pretty stunning. Actually, to be honest.
So Shake and Bake, Robert Giacchino going up against Breeze Nuts, Scotty and Matthew Lasan. And we have a game coming down to Monday Night Football. Robert Giacchino has 75 points to the Lasans' 68.9 points. And the Lasans have Adam Vinatieri, the kicker, for Indianapolis going tonight. So that is going to be literally right there. And you think that Vinatieri probably... I mean, if I were to pick, I'd probably take Breeze Nuts in this matchup because Vinatieri needs what, 6 points, 7 points. So that's a
yes,
that's
he
like
needs
2 field goals. Basically.
He needs 7.
So 40-yard field goals.
So this is a perfect example of why you do fractional points, because if this was 68 to 75, because it's 68.9 to 70.
Right.
So if it and he got somehow kicked, he kicked a regular field goal and a long field goal, and that was it. You'd have yourselves, a Texas tie, and then what do you do? So this is a perfect reason.
The old Texas tie.
Yeah, this is the perfect reason it's TCU versus Texas in the 1940s, and it was the worst football game ever played. But digressing, yeah. So it's good.
I do want to make it a point to say if this were to end in a tie somehow, which it obviously can't with a kicker. Just to refresh everybody, the tiebreaker is most total touchdowns in the starting lineup. If that is still tied, then you drop down to the benches. So most total touchdowns
in the bench.
The entire roster. A couple guys I wanted to make note of here. 2 underperforming running backs, 1 for each team, 1 for Shake and Bake. Jeremy Hill, 0.1 points for Cincinnati. I don't know.
I don't know. He fumbled a lot yesterday.
Oh, he did lose 2 fumbles. So
Yeah.
he did have 39 yards on 10 carries, but had 2 fumbles. So I'm glad you said that because I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, he had
there.
the fumble. He had fumbleitis. And then,
it doesn't bode well for him because don't they have
Giovanni Bernard?
Yeah, Gio Bernard over there. And then flipping to the other side with Breeze Nuts, C.J. Anderson. Yet another underwhelming performance, only 2.9 fantasy points, and he's really starting to... we kind of gave him a pass week 1.
I was going to say, yeah, this...
And here we are week 2, and it's... I mean...
They played... Let's put it this way. They played a tough defense last week, but I do remember seeing a lot of Ronnie Hillman. And I don't think it's, worth picking up. But I don't know who you'd rather have. I don't know if you, want that problem in your lineup, weekly, thinking, should I start C.J. Anderson, or is there a chance if I should start Ronnie Hillman? But I know Ronnie Hillman had a decent game because somebody was talking about him Friday or Saturday on one of the fantasy podcasts saying this doesn't bode well for people who took C.J. Anderson in the first round, and that's a bit of a bummer because I'm pretty sure C.J. Anderson was taken before AB and Gronk, who were just
he wasn't taken before AB, but he probably was taken before
Gronk. Yeah, and he was just who are literally just teabagging the rest of the league right now.
Yeah, and
constantly.
What can you say? So. That matchup coming down to Monday Night Football should be a good one. But again, I side with Breeze Nuts and Adam Vinatieri tonight to get 7 points.
I do.
Again, that's only a 40-yard field goal and a 30-yard field goal in you.
Right, or or the prototypical 2 touchdown, See, that's the thing though. If it's two touchdowns and a long field goal, you better hope it's of the 50-yard variety.
Right, exactly.
But it's a good thing the game's indoors. The Jets have a good defense, so as a Vinatieri fan, you're not pissed about that because you stall around the 20-yard line and get some points. Before you switch games, if you're going to look at games,
sure.
Demaryius Thomas is going to be the bust of the season. Manning's going to die. Peyton Manning is going to die. I said it last week. I'm going to keep saying it until he pulls the Brett Favre, where he is literally laying in the fetal position on the back of a golf cart, and you just kind of watch him ride off. You don't even know where he's going. Maybe to film another one of those chicken parms commercials or whatever. But
The Four Tunesmen is the new one.
Oh, yeah. But
as you just kind of see his career
vanish away. That's his voice, But I mean, it's a bummer, and I blame it on him saying now Tacoma instead of Omaha. It used to be Omaha.
He did switch it, yeah.
Yeah, now it's Tacoma,
Well,
Washington. Who the fuck wants to care about Tacoma? At least they have the World Series for college baseball in Omaha.
Well, I'll tell you what, and it may have to start being like a weekly segment. I was talking about Peyton Manning because I know we spent a good amount of time for last week, but it needs to be addressed. I mean, he literally looks like he's like going on 50 years of age. He looks so bad. The fact that he's 2-0, and actually for you gamblers out there, has 2 covers to start the season.
He covered both games.
Both games.
That's right. The Chiefs were favorite.
Yeah, it's like
they
miraculous. And I don't get it. Now he looks a lot better like when he does like the hurry up offense because he still has like the intelligence.
Oh yeah, like the physical attributes are what's going. It's the smartest football player in the league, bar none. Yeah. But it's just like he can't do what his eyes and brain process with his arm. He can't feel his fingers. He can't feel his fucking fingers.
Yeah,
There's
this is not going to end well for one Peyton Manning.
He might be the only player in a sport that requires like a tangible ball that somebody would trot him out there and say like, that's okay, you can't feel your fingers, we'll let you play. Like in baseball, it's like, I can't feel my fingers. They're going to be like, yeah, you probably aren't going to play today.
He's like the only guy maybe in any sport.
In any sport,
like, that is absolutely insane.
Yeah,
like, we'll definitely be revisiting Peyton in
weekly,
the coming weeks.
Yeah.
There's no way he finishes the season. Again, I just want to be on the record with that. I think we're all kind of in agreement.
But like, oh, God.
He looks bad. But let's go ahead and we're going to jump over to another matchup here, which still has some implications on Monday Night Football, but pass interference on the offense. Robbie Wright is getting his dick kicked in by Eric Top, Kevin Bottom. The current score 122.3 to 74. However, Mr. Wright has Andrew Luck going tonight, but he's going to need a fantasy performance of a lifetime. He's actually had one like this before, and I feel like this is brought up every year. He did have a Peyton Manning 50-point performance.
He needs 49 points.
Years ago, he got that kind of performance out of his quarterback. So does he have a little magic left up his sleeve?
How do you score 50 points?
Peyton Manning threw 7 touchdown passes.
That's still only 28. That's 28.
Think about all the yards you get there.
Oh my God, okay.
He did it, and he did that, if you can recall, the game was actually the season opener.
Against the Ravens. Didn't you beat him that week or something?
And then I came back to beat him, of course. That's how that always ends. We actually might have referenced that on the last podcast.
I remember that. I remember it was like, literally the lead looked like he didn't have to play anybody else the rest of the week.
Yeah,
but Rod has his homer pick, who looks like a good pick now.
Yeah, Allen Robinson. We both have a couple shares of him in other leagues. Yeah. I didn't like him so much last year. Certainly this year, I expected a nice little sophomore year.
Was he hurt last year?
He did get hurt, like in the second half of the season. He started off okay. I think he had one big game, but I don't know. You could see the potential there. He only caught 6 of 12 targets, but he did have 155 yards and 2 touchdowns. Allen Robinson, which is good for 27.5 fantasy points for Eric Top, Revito Bottom. So a nice little start for him.
And he had Fitzgerald on his bench. I mean, he could have. That's a big week.
So maybe now we're starting to see the only draft wide receivers outside of Adrian Peterson kind of pan out here for Rod.
We were kind of talking about that at the gym. That's, I mean, like, digressing, because I hate just reading numbers off of people's fucking stat lines. But, like, so, that looks like it's the thing. See, I think some of, like, the fantasy experts, like, they don't want to succumb to saying you have to take wide receivers because, but I think unless you have, like, Peter, and this is with, like, Lacey getting hurt this week, and, you know, even Jamal Charles fumbling to lose a game, like, unless you have Peter, it goes back. I still say I would have taken Peterson number 1 overall. He had a bad week last week, but he is the only one because Minnesota sucks at everything else mainly. So it's like he just scores touchdowns. He's their whole offense. I mean, maybe Lev Bell comes back. I have him in another league, so he gets to come back this week. So. Yep. But my God, like I think I might, if I ever do fantasy again, I'm not drafting a running back in the first round.
Well, and that's it. In years past,
and
like you said, we were talking about this before. I used to be a guy who, you know, I wanted to get 2 running backs, bang, bang, 2 reliable guys to start the draft, and that's what my previous championship teams were built on. So I kind of stuck to that. This year, I told myself I wanted to get a stud running back from my number 1 pick, stud wide receiver with number 2, and I did that in all 3 leagues that I'm in. But you're looking at it now, and this all kind of stemmed from talking about Chad's teams. I mentioned, of course, in our league, he has Antonio Brown, Odell Beckham, 1-2 in our league, and in the other league, Julio and Calvin, and his teams are tearing it up. And it's just becoming, I mean, not that everybody knows this, but it's become a passing league, and it's just like as far as fantasy goes, running backs are starting to kind of they don't have the same value as maybe they once did.
Right. Like,
it's a wide receiver league. It's a wide receiver league as far in fantasy purposes.
Right, and oh my god, I mean, like I don't think you could ask anybody. Okay, so let's take the nay on Peterson, maybe nay on Lev Bell. If you could trade your first round pick right now for Antonio Brown and you didn't do it, you're an idiot.
Right.
You're an idiot. Like you couldn't pitch to me something that would convince me that you're correct if you don't want Antonio Brown over whoever else you picked in the first round.
Right.
Because if you took Lacy, he's hurt. Jamal Charles, okay, I have him, but I would still give him up for AB scoring 20 some odd points a game easily. Like, it's not even like he tries.
Right.
And he doesn't get hit because he's a receiver. You're never like, he's never like limping off the field, waiting for somebody to come in. They're not play action passing him and like faking you out as he turn around and hand the ball off. There's no one else. I mean, C.J. Anderson right now, who is, we're not to harp on Brees nuts, but you trade him for AB real quick.
They would trade C.J. Anderson.
You would trade Marshawn Lynch for AB.
Well, I don't have Lynch in this league.
Who has? Oh, John does. John would.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and we're gonna jump over. Eddie Lacy, who we're gonna get into here in a second.
Oh yeah.
Of course, I traded Eddie Lacy for him, but so
everyone.
that matchup tonight. Again, another Monday Night Football. Can Robbie get 50 out of Andrew Luck? If there was one quarterback that could do it, I suppose it could be him against a Jets team. But for our point of view,
this is over.
It's over. And it looks like Eric Top reviewed a bottom.
The band is out on the
first win of the season. So both teams should be 1-1 after tonight. Jumping over to the third matchup of the week, my matchup, Instagrams versus A. Aliberti. Speaking of getting your dick kicked in, I'm going to drop to 0-2. It just hasn't been a good fantasy run for me. We mentioned Eddie Lacy was my first round pick. He's hurt now. What else is new? This guy can't stay on the field. It's unfortunate, but that's the risk I took drafting him. So he's out, had 9 yards last night. I'm in trouble there. I don't want to spend really any more time on my lineup because it doesn't deserve the time of day.
You had 9 yards last night? I feel like you had more.
Nope, that was it. I did want to mention, as I look down Birdie's roster, Melvin Gordon. And I said last week I have him in another league, so I've been kind of keeping my eye on him. He looks significantly better in week number 2. Didn't get in the end zone, unfortunately, but you could see the talents there, the speeds there. He looked much more comfortable in that Chargers offense week number 2.
Alfred Blue, he can get him out of his lineup for Lev Bell. That'll be nice. See, that's what you had to do. You just had to hang on if you had Lev Bell. And that's what I did in my other league. I lost the first week and won this week.
Yep, 1-1.
And people were afraid.
So
but he's a big talent. God, if he gets hurt, I'm so fucking done with fantasy football. There's all these silverbacks getting hurt too.
Well, we talked, you mentioned Lev Bell. How about D'Angelo Williams out of Pittsburgh? Another 3 touchdowns for him. And I was telling you on the way over here,
he may stay,
you got to kind of keep him involved. I mean, I understand when Bell comes back, he's absolutely the guy. But maybe if the carries were initially going to be like 90-10 Bell, maybe it's like 80-20 or 75-25. Because D'Angelo looks really good. He looks fresh.
And he's
got a little second lease on life here.
But yeah, well, he's like I think they said yesterday he's like the oldest running back in the league.
Yeah, and he looks good. I'm impressed. Now, can he sustain it? It's another question.
Right.
But
we'll just get stoned.
He's certainly done his job.
Oh no, that was blunt. But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look! This is the harp of the week. Fuck the experts. Fuck them. Fuck them. Pine cone them in the ass. This Nelson Schlegler guy.
Oh Jesus!
Get there. Oh, he was gonna set the world on fire, and he's gonna deep throat Kate Middleton, and literally all these things. This guy was like literally the next coming of Jesus, and he's had I could have done what he did yesterday. He ran forward and caught the ball, and then fell down twice.
And if I'm not mistaken, this was his better of 2 weeks, and it was. So he currently has 4 receptions on the year for 36 yards.
He is the equivalent of a 40-yard field goal this year. That's it. That's his point total.
No, he's less. He's 3.6.
So, 3.6. So he's kicked the 36-yard field goal.
I mean, this guy sucks. This guy sucks. It's not. I hate to count him out, but the Eagles' offense in general, I was cracking up watching them try to move the ball yesterday. Sam Bradford, another guy the experts were getting high on. Matthew Berry's basically been jerking off to Sam Bradford on ESPN every single time I turn on my TV. And he can't get a first down.
that team. I didn't watch much of it. I watched like the fourth quarter. Oh my!
How long does Chip Kelly have? What is his? How long is his lease run here with this team?
Well, I mean, but what? See, this is the rash. It's like, so you fired him. What are you gonna bring in? There's no coach. I mean, that's the equivalent of like last year when we wanted Johnson fired. Like we're gonna bring in Tortorella. Like there's not much right now in the league. Like anyone who's been fired recently, obviously wasn't a very good coach where they were. So what are your options? So like
I don't know, but the Chip Kelly experiment. Again, only 2 weeks in, but not the start you had imagined over in Philadelphia.
See, now, is he a rookie coach last year? I always forget this.
I was thinking the same thing there. I want to say this is actually his third year there.
Because I remember the first game, we sat right here and watched it, and they went batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Like, they were running that
option. It might
have
been all the years start kind of blending together, so it was either last year or the year before, but...
well, how long's Andy Reid been in Kansas City?
Yeah, it actually might have been last year.
Yeah, it might have been. Because he looks fat. He's fat.
Anthony Aliberti getting the victory here, 96-71. Instagram 0-2, Aliberti 1-1. Let's go ahead and jump down to your matchup now. You faced off against Triple J, Sean McLaughlin, and Scott Barlick. And again, another lopsided game here. You each have one more guy to go.
Doesn't really matter.
I'll let you kind of take it from there.
No, it's just like, I scored, I actually watched, so all my guys except for the guy tonight played in the 1 o'clock games. At halftime, I had 61.1 points. I finished the day with 59.5.
Actually, that's impressive.
And I didn't miss a kick. So, like, the kicker didn't lose 2 points for missing a kick. So, like, Keenan Allen, like, fumbled a ball. So, this is the best part. He fumbled a ball, ran and recovered it, and then fumbled it again. So, like, I mean, it's just like, oh my god.
You see Keenan Allen.
So you can't fumble a ball. You can't fumble a ball forward in the NFL and recover it to gain yardage. So technically, all he had to do was fall on top of the ball, and they would have been replaced at the spot of the fumble, and I wouldn't have lost 2 points. Instead, he grabbed it and then like fumbled it again, and there was another 2 points. Like, this is just maddening. I hate this shit so bad. Because, like, I started the day off, 5 minutes into the day, Bridgewater to Rudolph for a touchdown. I was on, like, cloud 9.
And I was thinking about you throughout the day, because Bridgewater and Rudolph ended with 9 points, the tight end from Minnesota.
Can't really complain about
good,
that.
Yeah, and Bridgewater had a nice day, victory over Detroit.
Oh, and then that rigged Tampa Bay game, Vincent Jackson catching a touchdown at the end of the half.
Speaking of
that was so fucking rigged.
And I think Fawcett has this guy in our league, Mikey Evans, laid a goose egg this week. A moose.
Did he play? He played?
He played.
He played less
0 points for Mikey Evans.
The moose knuckle.
Yeah, you mentioned Vinny Jackson, who, of course, I've had Vinny Jackson every single season I played fantasy. This year, I'm done with this guy. He's terrible. I drafted Mike Evans in one league, and now the rules have reversed, of course. This is like some cruel joke being played on me from the Tampa Bay offense.
Well, I mean, my bench, if I started my bench, I would have won.
I feel like we do this every week with you, too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the thing. Is that you're almost, and we've talked about it before, just set your lineup and forget it. We got cute this week and started Matt Ryan over Tom Brady. And, of course, if anybody who watched games this week knows, Tom Brady is an absolute monster. We're never doing that again.
He's a raper.
So, it is what it is. Tonight, you have T.Y. Hilton going. And they
if he even plays.
Andre Johnson, and again, they're up by, looks like 20 points or so here, so this would have to be a major swing of events for you to be able to get yourself back into this and even make it a contest. So we're going to say Triple J improves to 1-1.
Yeah, I had to pick up yesterday Philip Dorsett, just in case.
Oh, that was a nice play though by you thinking that.
Well, just in case. It doesn't really matter, but I kind of hope I start T.Y. Hilton and Philip Dorsett like has a Jordy Nelson game, and like I would probably throw this computer out the window. It just sucks. I mean, there's no fun in it. It's actually stress. It used to be fun. I don't remember when fantasy used to be fun, but it did used to be fun.
Well, for me, it was fun when I was winning, but now it's.
I've never won, but I do remember even like being like, oh, like it's. But now it's like it's almost like too involved. Like there's like too much going on. Like I find myself listening to like Matthew Berry every day talk about like who he loves and who he hates and
Well,
start
and,
and
yeah,
sit.
but
And it's just like well, you fucking said that. And then that's the problem with like America is we need like directional assistance. So it's like I don't know who to play, so I'll tweet like, or I don't even know who's on my team. Arbitrary.
well, you
Charles
did
or
you did have Abdullah.
right, Abdullah or Crow. And like they'll send you back like Abdullah, and you're like, oh, okay, good. He obviously knows me. No, I just wanted somebody to tell me who to start.
Yeah.
Like we think they're experts,
I need to hear. I need
Right,
somebody to
and-
make the decision for
and
me.
that's so America because it's like, oh, Wendy's or McDonald's. I don't care. Where do you want to go? Wendy's. All right, yeah, I'll go to Wendy's. It's like, but we
Then-
can't have
then
a
I end
rational.
up with food
Right,
poisoning.
yeah. Then we can't have puking on the side of East Liberty. We can't have a rational thought anymore with this because it's like we need to know like what they know. Like what do you know about Abdullah that I don't? And
Right.
they're like, no, start him. But he's just sitting on the other end of his computer or on his cell phone watching games, just like Abdullah tweet. And I'm
Yeah.
like, and I take it like he just rewrote the Bible.
And that's
And
like
it sucks.
And
It's everything.
Let's parlay that into like I was just thinking today. Like I'm 1-5 over the course of my 3 fantasy leagues.
Same. 2 and
And
10.
I left all 3 drafts very happy with what I had done. I couldn't have been more satisfied with the way I had drafted my 3 teams. And then here we are, and it's like I'm not even close. I'm not even like competing. So it's like,
Yeah.
and I'm taking a lot of this stuff from the fantasy experts. I know John had told me, and we're gonna get into his matchup here. That next year, no fantasy experts for him. He's making his own notes, which is a bold move. But I mean, at this point, you can't get much worse.
Right.
He's going to just do it himself next year. And to be quite honest, I might be joining him.
I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing is like who came into the league this year that like I wouldn't have picked if I didn't look at the experts. I probably wouldn't have taken the Abdullah guy who did have a good game the first week, but like the second week, you know.
Yep, so we'll certainly see. Jumping over to Johnny's matchup against Kurt Ott. This is Ticklesome Ivory versus the Steel Curtain. Actually, I'm receiving a text right now from John as we speak. And I'll read the tweet out loud. What's going on with the massive total drop in Monday Night Football with people hammering the Jets? So, this is John at work right now. That's good.
That's good to know.
But it's always nice to hear John like get into this again because I do miss that John that was going 110 miles per hour all the time.
Exactly.
I mean, that's classic John. Getting into his matchup, however, not looking too good for Jonathan this week. He still has Chris Ivory going tonight. He was questionable, but did look good in week 1. He currently trails the Steel Curtain 95.1 to 78.5. Looking at any notables here. A couple of nice wide receivers for the Steel Curtain. Julio Jones, Emmanuel Sanders, and Sammy Watkins. 3 big weeks out of those wide receivers. For the Steel Curtain, who's looking like he's going to improve to 2-0. So very impressive start to the newcomer to the fantasy league.
We'll take it.
He actually sent me, and I didn't tell you this, he sent me a nice little text last week saying, good job on the first podcast. He said thanks for, thanks for the shout out because we, said
We gave it to
welcome
him,
to the
yeah.
league. And it's of course great to have Kurt along. And he's off to a great start. So
Take it.
anything else you want to elaborate on in this matchup? Anything that you're seeing? Marshawn Lynch off to a little bit of a slow start for Ticklesome Ivory.
He's fumbling a lot. He used to not fumble. That's like the weird thing. I don't know. Like they've mentioned that. Like they've mentioned that now that he fumbles now.
Well, some of that's in large part due to that read option and like Russell Wilson couldn't make up his mind and like kind of gave him like a half-ass handoff and the ball went flying.
That was weird. And then there was an offsides.
Right, yeah,
Right.
so they called that back. But yeah, Marshawn Lynch. And granted, that's a guy who took over Eddie Lacy. Eddie Lacy now banged up with the ankle injury. Not looking so good. Some other injuries, just real quick to elaborate on Tony Romo, broken collarbone. Not looking too good for him. We saw Matt Stafford today, had a rib injury?
Lung. Rib lung.
So a couple of
Cartilage.
fantasy quarterbacks going down. It seems like this year, almost maybe more injuries through 2 weeks than I can remember in previous fantasy seasons.
Yeah, I don't know. I think football is I don't know. There's a lot of stuff like that new study came out about football is not looked as popular as the sport is. It's like not being looked at a good light right now in terms of like a genuine public eye. Like it's fun to do all this stuff, put some cheap bets in, like mess around with fantasy, but like all that study came out saying over 90% of players are dealing with chronic traumatic encephalopathy after playing football. Like, that's not good. Like, a lot of, like, football's going in a weird direction. Like, I'm interested to see where we are in,
Where we
like,
land up,
2025. Like, when we're, like, parents and, like, we're watching, like, are we still going to be, like, doing this? Or literally, is everyone just going to quit football? Because we are getting to the point where it's, like, it's so serious. Like, there's that Friday Night Tykes. I mean, literally, it's like football.
That show's out of control.
But football's got to the point where it's like everyone's hurt, everyone's concussed, and now they're literally proving that like you can't play this sport without doing permanent damage to your brain, and you may like not to make light of it, but like people are literally shooting themselves, like hanging themselves, committing. So it's like a weird. I was like weird where this sport's gonna go because it's just so much more injury laden than any other sport that you like almost wonder like. Romo, I mean, he just got fell on. Like, somebody just fell on top of him.
Yeah.
Like, that guy for Notre Dame did a chest bump and blew out his knee. I mean, like, so it's just, like, it's crazy how, like, many people's lives get just, like, just, like, literally shit on. And, like, God, Marshawn Lynch, I bet the reason he doesn't talk when he's interviewed is he can't figure it out.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, yeah.
From what we learned about him.
Beast mode.
All right, so we're going to jump now over to the final matchup of the week, and then we're going to get into a new segment that we have coming up as well. The final matchup is Cologne Colin Fawcett versus Aces Deuces Lounge, Chad Zaleski. We just talked about Tony Romo. Aces Deuces Lounge had him plugged in, and despite only getting 7 points, of course, because of the injury, he was still able to escape here with what appears to be a victory, a 96-72 lead. Over Cologne. Cologne does have Dante Moncrief, the Indianapolis wide receiver, going tonight, but for all intents and purposes, looking like Aces Deuces Lounge going to get yet another victory. And we talked about his strategy in the draft, going Brown, Odell Beckham 1-2. Listen to the numbers. Brown 27.5, ODB. He's back in the swing of things week number 2, 20.6 fantasy points. So holy heck! And imagine if you had those guys in like a PPR league. We talked about Brown, 9 receptions. Points. Brown, 9 receptions, 195 yards. I mean, that's just ridiculous. They had a field day against the 49er defense. So I did kind of wanted to see who Chad had as a backup QB and kind of got a little chuckle out of it. Fitzy. Ryan Fitzpatrick, the Jets quarterback. And you wonder if he's going to stick with this guy moving forward or if he's going to maybe look to make a trade or pick somebody else up off waivers. It'll be interesting to see.
The Fitzmeister.
You could have worse, I suppose, but not much worse. I mean, there's got to be somebody else out there you would think that's maybe a little more formidable for fantasy purposes.
I mean, I know Jameis is out there.
Yeah, it's tough. It's
like
tough.
Alex Smith, I guarantee you, is out there. He's always out there.
Yeah, he is always out there. He's always like the top guy. If you go to waivers, it's always Alex Smith, like the number one guy.
Right,
most
and
points.
then the next is
Nobody wants him.
it's always like, I don't know. Never mind. I have nothing to say there. But yeah, this is...
So some more injury news for Ace Deuces Lounge. He loses Romo. You mentioned to me earlier, Trevin Coleman, the Atlanta running back, is doubtful. Do you know what happened?
He did something to his ankle.
Yeah. But the good news is it's looking like Todd Gurley, the rookie running back for St. Louis, is going to be back next week.
Schmerls.
He almost started this week, and I'm kind of glad they held him off. Of course, he's coming back from, what was it, an ACL injury?
Yeah, he blew out his knee.
Yeah, so...
He's going to be the best running back.
That's what they're all saying. Now, they've been wrong quite a few times.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I'm hoping he's good to go, because I have him in a couple leagues.
He's kind of in the same vein as Trent Richardson, so that's probably about the only thing that would scare you. But he runs so hard, and that's the other thing that'll scare you. But, I mean, it's going to be nuts. Speaking of guys who run hard, Leonard Fournette next year in the NFL.
Oh, at LSU.
Hello, NFL.
What a game he had.
Holy shit.
I mean, that's audibly like what I said when I watched that one run he had that ended in a touchdown. He was just running guys over.
Like, he didn't even care. He was looking for contact.
Yeah.
Like, it was, like, weird. Like, he, like, actually made a cut so that he could put his helmet in the guy's chest and, like, it was, like, the most, like, emasculating thing you could. He, like, knocked the guy over, then, like, as he was running past him, like, stepped clean on him to keep going. Ooh.
He's going to be a monster.
He's also a silverback. We should make note of that.
Of course. Two guys I did want to make note of in Cologne's lineup, which, by the way, why does he have like a period next to the end of his name?
Because you have to have a
You have to
first and last. Yeah.
I actually learned that in my other league. All right, that's actually pretty observant by you to pick up on that.
Yes.
Two guys who underperformed for Cologne. And two guys I did. Well, we already touched on Mike Evans. That was one of them. 0 points. He was targeted a few times. I saw him in the game, but not looking good for Michael Evans. And I did want to mention LeGarrette Blount. I know we started him in our other league. I mean, good luck trying to figure out the New England backfield because that Lewis guy. 0.4 points.
Oh my! I didn't even realize that. Okay.
That Lewis guy, I will take responsibility. I put Blount in our lineup and took Allen Robinson out of the flex. I couldn't have made a worse decision there, because they're sitting there saying Blount's going to be the guy,
right?
And of course Belichick, who I swear has like a personal vendetta against fantasy football, starts handing the ball to this Lewis guy, who the F knows, but in that same.
Yeah, I was gonna say Kalanch had that David Johnson guy and Giovanni Bernard.
Yeah, but what I was gonna say is I think Blount next week he could have 4 touchdowns.
Right. Yeah, you'll definitely bench him next week, and he'll find guaranteed. They play Jacksonville. Guaranteed he finds the end zone. Blount might be bigger than most of the people on Jacksonville's defense. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So
the Blount star.
We'll have to wait and see there for the Patriot backfield, but. I mean, like I said, good luck figuring that out. But Aces Deuces Lounge likely going to get the victory here. They improved to 2-0. Cologne down to 0-2. So let's go ahead and jump over to our new segment. And I was just kind of thinking it through my head. What we're going to do here is we're going to name a couple of the quote-unquote bones of the week. Bones of the week. And that's, of course, this is all in reference to NFL gambling spreads. A bone is whenever all the public is on one team, and they end up winning the game. They come through, they cover. And then we're also going to name...
Vegas just handing out free cash.
Basically is what a bone is. And then we're also going to go over the 2 rigged games of the week. 1 or 2 rigged games. There's always a couple every week. I know you've pulled up scores.
And they fly under the radar. See, that's the thing. Is like people don't see like these... There are some games that the sharps are on that no one else is betting. That a lot of people aren't looking at. A lot of people aren't touching these games.
Yeah, so
it's like the line is so fish.
I have my 2 in mind already, but why don't you go ahead and start off with your bone of the week?
Oh, bone of the week was a Packers game. I mean, that was a joke. Like with 3. I mean, I know so you saw that the line was a little fishy, but at the same time, the Packers were more or less a pick. You get 3 points for home field advantage. Seahawks having to fly across or halfway across the country. Packers haven't lost a game at home since 2013.
Seattle also without that Cam Chancellor guy.
He's
who's been more of a factor than I thought he would be. His absence.
And I didn't know this, but God apparently was a Packers fan last night.
You saw that. That was a great little jab by Rodgers to Wilson.
And that just kind of set up for me. I wasn't massively concerned about the cover because it looked at it this way: Packers probably. They haven't lost in 13 some odd games, 14 games at home, nearly 2 seasons. And for them to win the game, I mean, the chances of them winning by less than 3 points was going to be pretty slim, especially on that team. Although, in the same vein, there are some people who had a pretty bad, not a bad beat, but people probably pounded that over last night. And that was hilarious to watch because down goes the field. Down they go, the Seahawks trying to get that last conversion or last touchdown to do the onside kick. And a defensive tackle makes a fumble play that you could tell people who had the over, just a collective sigh of public, because they love those primetime overs because they do hit pretty often.
They love the overs.
But every time they miss, it makes up for 3 weeks of them hitting. So but your bone.
My bone of the week. Was the New England Patriots +1 at Buffalo. This was, I believe, the top bet for the 1 o'clock games. The public was hammering the defending Super Bowl champions. Of course, they were coming off a win. They were also coming off a 10-day rest. They started off the season on a Thursday night. They're going into Buffalo. I know Buffalo had a nice win at home against the Colts, and I could see a little hype building there. But nonetheless, a lot of the betting public was not buying it. The Patriots opened as a 1.5-point favorite, and for some reason, they lost being the favorite in that game, and the Bills jumped to a 1-point favorite despite everybody hammering the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
And, if you bet the Bills thinking this game might be rigged, and it certainly looked like it was going to be, Well, that's some tough luck as the Patriots steamrolled the Bills. The score 40-32 certainly does not indicate the way that game went.
No.
The Patriots ran away with that. By halftime, you knew the Patriots were going to win and cover that game. So for me, that was the bone of the week.
Yeah, I would say my rig of the week, or not rig, but at least Vegas's bone, where it had to be that Titans-Browns game.
And that was the one I was going to go after.
Yeah,
I'm certainly going to think of another one, but let's set the stage there. Titans-Browns.
Yeah.
Marcus Mariota coming off a rookie performance for the ages. Goes into Cleveland, going up against Johnny Manziel, who looked dreadful in the second half of last week's game.
It was like literally throwing the ball behind him. I mean, like anything that could go wrong was going wrong.
And the Browns were favored by 1. So everybody hammering the Titans, everybody buying into the Mariota hype, and really, why wouldn't you? I mean, Cleveland hasn't done anything in the past decade
ever
to lead you to believe that they should be a favorite. I don't care who they're playing.
They could be playing Alabama, and I think they'd be an underdog.
But Cleveland, it was a 1-point favorite. Everybody hammered the Tennessee Titans, and the Browns come through with a 28-14 win.
That didn't look good. Yeah.
I do have one.
Are you gonna say this one? That one was rigged for ensuing purposes.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that one, but I do want to get into the St. Louis Rams, a 3-point favorite over the Washington Redskins. The Rams coming off a victory against the Seattle Seahawks. The Redskins coming off a loss against the Miami Dolphins, and of course, all that turmoil that's been surrounding Washington Redskins kind of led you to believe they may not win a game this year. But here's St. Louis coming off a win against Seattle, only a 3-point favorite at the heinous Skins, and everybody's hammering the Rams at -3. Well, the Redskins win, and there was really no doubt about it. 24-10, victorious over the Rams, and for me, that was one of the rigged tilts of the week.
Yeah, that was.
They had Kirk Cousins was looking like Steve Young out there. It was just. I mean, clearly rigged.
That one was interesting. You didn't get to see much of that because no one cared on the red zone about that game. But seeing 17-0 at half.
But that's exactly how they do it.
Right? Yeah. No one's
those games that kind of fly under the radar that people kind of look at and they're like, oh, Rams -3. I'm going to go ahead and take them. And then you basically, for all you know, the game may have never even happened. They keep throwing up an updated score here and there, and it's like 7-0, 10-0, 17-0.
They clear the stadium out. There's no one even. Yeah, this is it's a Hollywood movie set.
I actually don't recall necessarily seeing a highlight from that game yet.
I saw one. I saw them throw a ball to a receiver that got hurt for the Rams.
If I recall, it was a real quick one. It was a little dark there. That could have been a game that happened 3 years ago for all.
And you would never know.
I'm not even sure that game was even played now that I'm starting to think about it. But
at the same time, it's that's where Vegas will get you. Because that's the game where you'll throw 10, 20, 30, 40, whatever dollars on. You're just the Rams, they just beat the Seahawks. They're going to beat the shittiest team in the league.
And that's how they get you because you're not watching the game, you're following the game, but there's flag here, flag there, pass interference, too many men.
Right.
Yeah, they're just weird.
Because what you're watching is the Tom Brady game or the Steeler game or whatever you really want to be involved with. No one wants to be involved in a Ram Redskin tilt.
Yeah, but when Vegas sets that lineup, it's just too good to pass up. Next thing you know, here come the Washington Redskins. So Vegas always having a little hand in something.
Well, yeah, they get bored.
But I certainly enjoyed that segment. That's a little more natural for us, I think.
As opposed to picking winners. I don't like to pick winners. There's a reason that I don't like picking winners because I pick losers.
Well, there's a reason we don't pick winners.
Right.
So that's really the gist of it. Week number 2 in the books. Jets, Colts tonight. Should be an interesting game. Colts coming off a loss. And the New York Jets are coming off a win, I believe. So kind of interesting. It looks like the Colts are a 6.5 point favorite this evening. What is the over-under in that game since John texted me about it?
54.5. No, 44.5.
So it dropped from 46.5 to 44.5 despite the public hammering the over. So don't be surprised if there's some limited points in that game. Some touchdowns are hard to come by. But again, we've been wrong many times before. We're just going off what we're seeing here.
Wait, what is that?
What
is that? Some
minimal fantasy implications tonight in particular. Breeze Nuts with Vinatieri going, so that'll be one to watch. But other than that, any concluding thoughts for week number 2?
Yeah, why the hell are the Steelers 1-point favorites? Only 1-point favorites going into the Rams next week.
At Ram, and here we go. So,
And it, like you can't like get on the internet without like seeing something that just like hooks you quick, and then
I mean, you could really go through the lines next week and try to make sense of them. Good luck, because I can't figure this out for the life of me. The NFL is just they're like puppet masters pulling strings left and right. Try to figure it out.
large envelopes going around everywhere.
You can't, but good week 2.
Yeah.
The hosts sitting at 0-4, so that's good.
Combined 2-10. Or combined 2-10.
Very ugly. Very ugly. But we're going to keep it rolling here. Happy we've been able to get 2 podcasts, and I thought these podcasts this year might be a little more sporadic, but it's looking like we may be able to make this work week to week, which is a great thing.
The casters. Yes.
And again, anybody, if you're interested in joining the Survivor Pool, we'd like to get the numbers up a little bit. Just $10 entry fee. Text me your pick. Email's going to be sent out Thursday. If you want to join, let me know.
Do we have enough people for fantasy hockey this year?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
We can get into that another time.
I don't know if there needed to be an advertisement for it. But
If anybody is interested out there in fantasy hockey, we do have one spot that could be filled.
there you go.
So, if
All
you're
right.
interested, shoot me a text. Other than that, best of luck to anybody who has guys going in the Monday night game. And, of course, good luck to everybody in week number 3.
There is a Penn's preseason hockey game tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So get ready to get fired up again about Penn's social media, tweeting emojicons, yeah, whatever the fuck they are. And that's it.
All right, week 2 podcast in the books. Take care.
Bye.